All right, today we're diving into a pretty radical idea. The idea that you are the architect of your own potential. We're going to look at a framework that mashes up psychology with the super weird but powerful logic of the quantum world, all to help you rewrite your own reality.
So let me start by asking you a really fundamental question. Just think about your life for a second. Your habits, the things you feel are holding you back. Are you just the user here, clicking on the options that life has given you? Or are you the one who's actually writing the code?
And this, right here, is the core idea we're going to unpack. What if everything you experience, your challenges, your wins, even who you think you are, what if it's all just a user interface? It's just a simplified representation of a much deeper reality. And if that's true, it means your biggest limitations aren't permanent flaws. They're just glitches in the code. Glitches that, guess what? You can actually rewrite. Okay, so let's jump right in. Section 1, the glitch in your interface. So what is this glitch we're talking about? Well, think of it like this. It's a piece of seriously outdated software. It's like a default setting that most of us are running 24/7 without even knowing it, and it's shaping our entire world. See, this default software, it runs on what you could call old-school linear Newtonian thinking. It's super rigid, It tells you that you are a fixed entity, that reality is just a simple A to B chain of cause and effect, and that knowledge is just a thing you go out and acquire. But what if there's another way to look at all this? Enter quantum thinking. In this world, you're not some fixed point. You're a whole field of potential. Your observation literally shapes the outcome. And knowledge? It isn't something you just get and store. It's a connection you have to establish.
And making that leap from that left column over to the right, that's exactly what this framework called the architect is all about. You can think of it as the ultimate blueprint for upgrading your own internal operating system.
All right, on to section 2, the architect's blueprint. So if we're going to upgrade our OS, we got to understand its core parts, right? The architect framework is really built on two huge foundational ideas that work together to make this whole shift possible.
Okay, first up we have the interface. The idea here is that we never see the raw underlying code of the universe. It's way too complex. Instead, we interact with icons, objects, people, the problems we face. And this is a really, really important distinction because it means we can change how we experience these icons without needing to rewrite the entire source code of the universe. Phew.
And the second big idea is something called the coherent nexus. You know that feeling where everything just clicks? When your heart, your brain, and your whole environment are totally in sync? That's the nexus. See, without this coherence, our intentions are basically just static, just noise. But when we get into that state, man, we create a crystal clear signal that makes change feel almost effortless. It's the state where you can actually program your interface. Okay, so we've got an interface we can edit, and we've got a nexus state to connect with. So what now? Well, in section 3, we're going to look at how to actually use these tools to start rewriting your reality. This table right here, this is the blueprint in action. Let's break it down. So take identity. The old way says, who am I? And you pick one answer. But the quantum way, it's superposition. It says you're all possible versions of yourself at once. The confident you, the shy you, the super successful you, they all exist right now as possibilities. And what about your beliefs? They're not just random thoughts floating around. No way. They act as the observer, and they literally collapse all those infinite possibilities down into the one reality you actually experience. Whoa, even your skills and abilities. They're not just files stored in your brain. They exist in your entanglement, your connection to a much bigger field of information.
Okay, so this all leads to a really practical technique you can try. It's called the quantum shift. Let's use a real-world example. Say you're procrastinating on a huge project. We've all been there. Step 1, open the superposition. Instead of saying, "Oh, I can't start this," reframe it. Say, "I am in a state that contains both my resistance and my motivation." Just doing that can release the mental block. Step 2, activate the interface. Actually visualize that project. See it as this huge, heavy icon on your mental desktop. Now play with it. Shrink it down. Make it transparent. Change its color to something that feels exciting. Heck, rename the file from Scary Deadline to Creative Opportunity. And finally, step 3, confirm the nexus. Just take a few calm, coherent breaths and really feel that new, energized intention clicking into place, like it's connecting with your future self who's already done it.
Now, this whole way of thinking, it's not just for self-help. It's got the power to totally shake up other areas like education.
So for Section 4, let's step into what we could call the quantum classroom and see what this looks like in practice.
All right, let's take a subject that's usually taught as just a straight line of facts. History. How could we possibly apply this quantum framework here?
Well, instead of starting with a bunch of facts and dates, we start with a paradox, something that holds two opposing ideas in superposition. For instance, was the Industrial Revolution a liberation or was it a prison? The goal here isn't to pick a side. It's to explore the reality where both of those things are true at the same time.
And then, from there, we explore the entanglement of it all. The factory owner's progress and incredible wealth, it's directly entangled with the child laborer's exhaustion and loss. You can't have one without the other. The inventor's amazing creativity is entangled with this massive, world-changing shift in how humans relate to nature. Suddenly, history isn't a simple timeline anymore. It's this rich, complex web of interconnected, simultaneous realities.
And hey, this doesn't just work for subjects like history. What happens when we apply the exact same logic to something like biology? So once again, instead of just memorizing the parts of a cell or a plant, we start with a paradox. We challenge the very definition of what an individual organism is. So we ask, is a tree a single thing, or is it more like the internet for the entire forest? By just holding both of those possibilities, we open up a much, much richer way of understanding.
And this gets right to the heart of the observer effect when it comes to learning. The nature of the tree actually depends on the question the researcher asks. If a forester asks about its value, the tree becomes lumber. If a biologist asks how it survives, it's a photosynthesis machine. The reality of the tree literally shifts based on who's observing it and what they're asking.
Which, of course, brings us to our final section. What will you observe? I mean, if the questions we ask can literally change the nature of a tree, just imagine what the questions we ask about ourselves can do. The implications here, they're absolutely enormous. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. The world is not what it seems. It is what you observe. We are not just passive spectators sitting in the audience of some fixed objective reality. No, we are active participants, constantly shaping our world with the questions we ask and the beliefs we choose to hold. And so I want to leave you with one final and I think really powerful question. If your beliefs are truly what shape your reality, and your identity is just a vast field of potential, not some fixed thing, then who will you choose to become? What reality are you going to choose to observe into existence?